All right. Welcome to Office Hours. Ryan, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Weather's awesome. Fall is turning. Time for football. Better time. But a year doesn't exist.
Football's here. We've been talking about the last few times we've done Office Hours. We've been talking about our product, all the things we've been doing to make it that much better for you guys. Happy to report, and I know Brian's extremely happy to report the early success we've had this football season. I'm going to pull up some stats real quick just to show you guys how great we've been so far, and hopefully this trend continues. But for college football, you can see here, got a ton of track bets, but look at those ROIs. I mean, Brian, this is, I think most traditional sports bettors, what is it? They're negative 4.5% ROI.
Yeah, theoretical hold on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Rithmm to be able to, again, help people across so many different college football games so far, a lot of craziness happening early in the season, but these are some serious numbers here. And same thing for NFL, right? NFL Week 1 is a really tough thing to be able to predict, given all the uncertainties, new players, especially this year with all the rookie quarterbacks. But 6% ROI on spreads, a great start to the year. Brian, you're the man behind all this, so I'm sure you have a few things you want to say about it. But it's been really cool to see how much success we've had so far.
No, the off season is not our off season, right? Like the off season is the time we go back in and refine things and tweak the models, get our player rankings, get everything working and set up for the next year, and then you get nervous the day before the season kicks off to see is all this work that we've been putting in for months ahead of time, is it going to pay off, is it going to be worth it? And it's like in the locker room, in the hallway out. I played hockey in the hallway out to the rink. That nerves, you get in there, you're doing something good, and you're getting ready for a big game if you feel it pumping in your veins. So that's how it is before week 1, and to be able to come in and see these kind of results, it makes that work worth it, and I'm glad the users are benefiting from it.
Yep, it's it's early. There's only been a 1 week of NFL, 2 weeks of college football if you don't count week 0.
Yeah.
But again, there's a ton with our product that we're here to help people, again, not just bet on their favorite teams. It's the other day I think I was watching Montana State, and it was some of these random schools that I now have a rooting interest in because Rithmm's directing me there, which is personally one of my favorite pieces of it. It's just I never feel like I don't have knowledge. I feel like I can go into watch any game, go into a bar, kind of be able to be the person that can talk about anything that's on TV, and that's a powerful feeling. So that combined with winning is the best mix, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, no one has the time to research every single game that's out there and have something. But when you're using the data to go through there, it really gives you an opinion on all of them, and then you can go in the ones that interest you and do a little bit deeper research and have that story for the folks at the bar.
Yep. So what Office Hours is for those of you that have not joined us before, this is your chance to ask Brian, who is our CTO. He's our quant. He is the man behind the data. So this is your opportunity to ask Brian questions about Rithmm, questions about things you're seeing as a bettor or as a sports fan that Brian may be able to help dissect from a data perspective. But we have a few questions that have been asked in our Discord, which if you're not a part of our Discord, I highly recommend you joining, because that is where people ask questions, they get feedback from our community, and that's how they're becoming better bettors. So Brian, I'm going to start with this. Why are you recommending a team that you predict to score less than the other team?
Yeah, great question. And one that comes especially because we aren't just a tout telling you who to pick, but we are giving you, or the model gives you, a predicted score on every game, so you can see that. And then the score, it gives a recommendation on what side of the bet to be on. So this came about because people are seeing they're going to lose by a touchdown, and it still says take them on the money line. So how does that happen? Well, remember, in betting, price is everything. So it's not just what side or what the probability. Well, it is the probability, but it's not just the side. It's at what price. So if we're doing a coin flip, and you're going to pay me 2-to-1 on heads and 1-to-2 on tails, I know the true odds are 50-50. I'm going to take the payment on the 2-to-1 every time and make that work. So it's not just the probability of something happening, it's that probability of it happening and the payoff. Because if we take that 2-to-1 bet on heads 100 times, I'm going to come out way ahead. Now, what we're talking about with money line is it's not balanced, but there's different payouts and different odds of things happening. So instead of a coin, if we're rolling a die, and I need a 5 or a 6 to win, that's 1/3 of the time. So if you pay me 2 to 1 on that, it'll be a fair bet to take. But if you start saying I'll give you 3 to 1, 4 to 1, now I'm going to be in the same place as the 2 to 1 on heads, but I'm going to be in a place where if I take that bet a bunch of times, I may lose 2/3 of the time, but when I win, I'm getting more money than I should be for the risk I'm taking. So that's the same thing here on the money line. Somebody may be predicted to win 1/3 of the time, but if the sportsbook odds are paying you 3 to 1 on that bet, it's still positive money to take it, especially if you're taking a bunch of those at the same time. You can reduce that variance and reap the reward for doing that. So that's why. It's because the price the books are offering is higher than what your model says the fair value should be of that bet. Oh, I think you're muted still.
Sorry, tech guy can't do the tech stuff. When you're seeing those type of bets, like the way as you're talking through that, I'm thinking of underdogs, right? That maybe the predicted odds or predicted score has them losing. But like you said, given the odds and given maybe the proximity and score that the prediction has, that's a value bet. And I think the great examples last weekend, BYU, they were
Yeah.
plus 368 or plus 386. Now, if you were to look at that predictions card, you may not, it probably wasn't going to say BYU's winning, but it's saying BYU is going to make this a game relative to the spread, relative to the line. And that's where the value comes in. And fortunately, we had a lot of people take BYU plus 386 last week. And again, that is awesome when our users get to hit big dogs like that. Like that's what people love. So yeah, don't be scared of those. Just understand that if you see a discrepancy there, it's because it's taking into account value, not just strictly the score.
Yeah, that's right. It is the price you get, the payout you get for the probability that that thing is going to happen.
So next question. Can props be used for same game parlays? No.
Yeah. So our prop predictions, we do make a prediction on the open on the open lines that we get. So we put those out there, and the simple answer is yes, they can be. But one of the things that you have to be careful with same game parlays, in particular, is that the books have their own way that they price the same game parlay. And if we use our coin flip example here, fair coin getting paid fair odds on it, so it's plus 100 bet on the coin flip. If I parlay it head with a head, what I should get is plus 300 on that, to be fair. So the first flip is completely uncorrelated with the second flip. The fact that I got a head in game or in the first flip has nothing to do with the outcome of game two. Those are independent events. We should get plus 300. But because the math behind some of that stuff is complicated, the books will give you a different odd. And what they're doing is using their own way to value the correlation between activities. So let's say, for example, you like Tyreek Hill over reception yards and Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown. Those are obviously correlated, right? Because one of the three ways that you can, if you make a reception that the play can end, you can go out of bounds, you can get tackled, or you can score a touchdown. So if he makes a catch, runs down the whole field, gets in the end zone, probability of going over in yards is there. Probability of getting an anytime touchdown obviously goes to 100. So those are correlated outcomes. Every book measures that correlation, prices the correlation a little bit differently. And because it's hard to know exactly what a fair price would be for those, oftentimes they take a little bit more than they should. Earlier, we talked about the hold on game lines is about 4.5%. If you look at the reported hold that books are getting, that they actually report to their regulators, it's 15-18% on same game parlays. So they're actually holding a lot more. So imagine if instead of playing minus 110 for a side in a game, you're paying minus 130, minus 135, somewhere in there. That's the kind of thing that you can get on the same game parlays. So it can be profitable if you know how the correlation is working and you have an estimate of what a fair price of those odds would be. But if you don't know exactly how that's going, what you're going to be doing is probably losing more theoretical hold to the book. Now, there's some things you can do. I bet them still, but what I like to do is use my free roll. So if they give you a no sweat, where if you lose, you get a bonus bet back, I like using it for that. If you get a 50% profit boost, that can sometimes make it a good bet. Still, it can sometimes just break you even for where it should be, but you can do it. Just know, think about, is what I'm doing correlated? Is it a good a good price? And if you don't know how to do that, maybe consider just betting singles.
Yeah, like parlays are fun. That's what everybody likes to tweet about, but in reality, they're not there to help you win. They're there, you can keep you engaged, but you're never going to hear Rithmm recommended going to do a single game or a same game parlay just because, again, it's literally made to make you lose. So,
yeah, there are ways that winning bettors use parlays, but to either they know their advantage and they've done the correlation and they know it's still plus EV even afterwards, or they are using it as a negative EV play to be able to keep an account open, right? But if you don't know why you're doing it, and or let's say you just want to have fun, that's fine. I got nothing wrong with having a $5 lottery ticket. Just understand that's what it is, and it's probably not a plus EV play for you.
Yeah, if you're looking to pay your rent that month on a same game parlay, that is not a good method because most times you're not going to be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
Again, just bet smart. That's the whole thing here. We're just trying to help people make better decisions. And again, same game parlays, just the data says it's not the best decision you can make. So, Brian, another question that we received is on one of our newest features, which is the research tab. This is something that I know we've been talking about for the last year of implementing into the app, and so far we've seen our users absolutely love it. So, I think it'd be great if you can explain a little bit about what does per possession mean on the research page. I have a video here to show people what that actually looks like as well. But if you can kind of go in a little bit of what are people looking at when on the research page? And I'm going to pull it up too so people can see.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and yeah, users have been all over the research page, so it's been very good to have that there. One of the should I tell you?
Sorry. let me move the oh god.
There we go.
Now it's in the middle of us.
Perfect. Awesome. One of the things that's been great about that is being able to see the stats and be able to do the research in there. Like even me beforehand, I'd look at a game, I'd look at a pick, and I'd be like, no, I don't know what's their points per game look like, what's their offense look like. So being able to have that right in the app makes it just so much easier to go from a prediction to see what the historical performance for those teams has been, and see if you feel like that's a great prediction you want to bet on. Now, a lot of places like ESPN, like a lot of the stats sites have per game averages, right? And you can get that pretty quickly. But what we have seen, and this is kind of baked into our model, is building on some of the work that came out of basketball on tempo adjusted stats. So on a per possession basis for basketball, and we have per possession on there as well for football, which is really drives. So you divide by the number of drives, and this gives you a tempo adjusted feeling of what that stat looks like. And right there over the top of the stats, you can see encircled in orange that you can flip between per possession and per game, how you want to do that. And this gives you kind of a basis of what happens on each drive a team has. So I was just looking at this earlier to see how drives end. For example, if you want to look at interceptions per drive, you get an estimate of how many times does a drive end with an interception. You can also look at things like field goal attempts per drive, and that's okay. How many times are they getting a chance to score, or touchdowns per drive? It's a great way to really understand how when they get the ball, what happens with that particular outcome. So that's been great. It's something we pulled over from the basketball into from the basketball analytics over into football, and just make it really accessible. And I don't think a lot of places have that kind of per possession, per drive stat as readily accessible. And again, because we know it is predictive of a game outcome, just making that stuff available to people just gives more value to the users.
Yeah, look, I think we want to make it as easy as possible for you to find all the data that's out there in one place, because I know, like, same like you, I was, especially for college basketball, I would look at our predictions. I would go and try to see what those teams were scoring on a, on a game by game basis, trying to make, validate a prediction like that. Now we have it where you can literally just, it's in the same app. You don't have to leave the app to go get this extra data. And I know that's helped me so far this season. I'm going to do a humble brag. I'm 35-7 on my spreads or totals for college football, which has been a lot of fun so far.
Your model's crazy.
Jimbo Slice model, if you want to go follow me on the leaderboard. But again, like, it's having more data. You don't have to use it every time, but it's like knowing it's there and knowing what to look for, and then you be able to create a habit out of that is the beauty of Rithmm.
Yeah.
So again, it's a great feature. I know people are loving it so far.
One more part of that, because another thing I know people like to look at is if they look at a spread or a total, they like to see what the team's done over the last few games, right? To say, okay, where does this look? And right now, that's directly integrated. So if you go to your prediction and you tap on it before you do the track bet, you scroll down a little bit, and we have last 5-10 games there for you to look at it for each team, what they've done over those games. So you can see, what the final score is, what the totals were in those games, and how the line matches up with their lines from previous games, as well as what their actual scores were compared to those lines. So that was helpful too, to just bring that right onto that same page, so no one actually even has to leave the page before tracking that bet.
Yeah, again, trends, graphs, everything that we've added really just, it makes a prediction that much more valuable when you have other things to make you feel confident in that. So we have a user question here from the audience right now. It's my guy Joe Spano. Joe, I'm so sorry about your Jets. It was a tough start to the year, but Joe's question: college football totals projections are much more under heavy than last season. Wondering why.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think what we'll find is those may adjust over the course of the season. We'll take a look at that. But yeah, I think the projections are under heavy. Now, in general, we anticipate that predictions will be to the under a little bit over 50%, because they come out under just a little bit over 50% as well. But right now, a couple of weeks in, it's harder to see exactly what's driving that. It just may be that the teams in week 0, week 1 are a little bit more lopsided, so that the models are looking at that dog and saying the dogs just aren't gonna perform in that game. So I think that could be part of it, but we'll know as time goes on. And that's one of the things we do, is look at the results, look at the predictions, and make sure that we're learning every week about what's going on and making those adjustments that we need to keep them as accurate as they can be.
When we say we have a team of data scientists working for you, we got a team of data scientists working for you. I mean, it's the truth. Like Brian's literally here to make you a better. And Rithmm's the platform that helps you do that tangibly. Brian's on the back end making that happen. So again, we are always watching, always making adjustments, always trying to make sure that we have the success that we had this past week, which I'll bring up again, is ridiculous, right? Like, look at these numbers. This is the power of data. And this is why, again, we are currently sitting at number 7 in the App Store, because people haven't had the ability to go and bet on any game confidently like we are allowing them to do right now.
I got one more example of how that review is working. So when we first released the NFL props, we were a little bit hesitant about the interception numbers. There was, just because they're small statistics, there's a lot of noise there, and we weren't fully confident in them. So we showed the predictions out there, but we're putting a caution by them because we were unsure. But they were one of the more profitable bet types that we had last year. Starting out week 1 of NFL, it's the same thing. Interceptions and touchdown passes were the 2 top bet types for us in terms of ROI. So we're now evaluating, hey, do we turn that on and allow those green stars as recommended bets go in? Because we thought it would be it could have some error, but it is on fire. So we want to make those available and make it clear. I mean, they're available now, but to make it clear and get the recommended green star next to those bets as well.
Brian, this has been great. I think, again, for a lot of people that are new to Rithmm, first off, welcome. We're excited to have you. And two, again, this is a place where, as you're using the app, as you're thinking more, hopefully we're trying to make you think, right? Like, think in an easy way, more of like an intellectual curiosity of like, why does this happen? Why is an outcome like this? Play styles or whatever it might be. We want you to be thinking. So as you're watching games, as you're betting on these games, as you're using Rithmm, come prepared with your questions, because you have an outlet to actually ask somebody that's going to be able to answer them. That's not me. That's Brian. But I'm here to be the moderator to help you get those questions to Brian. And again, that's hopefully going to help you become a better bettor. So Brian, I don't know if there's anything else before we wrap up here. As we head into week 2 of NFL tonight with the Bills and the Dolphins, and then week 3 of college football, what are any other things that you want to let our 275 people that are watching this right now know?
So one is just join us on Discord. There's such a great community there. If you have any questions, it's the quickest way to get in touch with us. And one of my favorite parts is that users ask each other questions too. They're like, hey, I got these 3 models. Here's what they're saying. What is your process to go from predictions to which ones you're going to bet? And those conversations are awesome. And they really spur us to be able to come up with new features. So we get a lot of ideas on how to make the app better by participating in those conversations on Discord. So if you're not there, jump in. Like it says in the scroll, it's free. The conversations are amazing. The people are friendly. So like that's the one thing I'd say is jump in and be part of the conversation.
It is truly a community. Everybody's there to help each other out. It's no egos, nothing like that. It's, you have questions, somebody's going to try to help you answer that. So again, it's really, really healthy, really, really fun place to be a part of. And it's going to help you, again, become a bettor.
Yeah. And we got people everywhere from novice and people who have bet professionally on that. We have people whose unit size is $2, and we have people who bet $1,000 unit size. So it is everyone. So don't think it's not my place, because we got people no matter where you fit in there and part of the conversation.
No such thing as a stupid question when it comes to analytical data like this. Like this is the time, because again, it may be something where you ask that question of something you're unsure of, and it makes everything make sense, right? So this is, again, Discord is the perfect outlet for that. A lot of the questions that we'll discuss within office hours will come from what we see in Discord too. So again, we are here to help you, right? Like Rithmm is truly, it's your companion to make you a smarter sports bettor. And again, we've had a lot of success so far this year. We know we're going to continue to have that. And again, if you're one of those people that has had success using Rithmm, please let us know, because we love nothing more. There's nothing better than somebody saying, hey, you guys are helping me crush it, or you guys are helping me dominate. Like, it makes us love our job that much more. So look, we got a lot of football this weekend, a lot of chances to win. Don't just go bet on the big games. Sometimes those the non-power 5 games in college football are just as fun, if not more fun. And we got predictions for every single one of them. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you everybody who's joined. This is by far the most people we've had as part of an office hour so far. This is something, again, we're going to keep doing. And again, the more questions that the audience has, the more times we'll be doing this. So please keep them coming. Please join our Discord. Again, it's a great place to learn, to engage. And most importantly, make sure you download Rithmm, because again, we are here to help you win. We're here to help you have fun. We're here to help you be smarter. And that's why Rithmm exists. So go download us now, free 7-day trial, and see what it's like betting with data.
Awesome. Thanks, James.
Thanks, Brian. See everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye, everyone.